There's nowhere else I'd rather be than standing in this room right now with a raven and a glowing sea and everything that I've become and everything you mean to me. There's nowhere else I'd rather be than standing here with you right now, two ravens on a rock of dreams, and all the colors of the sun are like the light you give to me. There's nowhere else I'd rather be than living on this earth right now with all the hope and broken dreams. Like the raven I will turn to the place where life begins. Like the raven I will turn to the place where life begins.
Hello everyone. I would like to warmly welcome you all to this album launch, and thank you all very much for taking the time to be here. The album has been written and recorded over the last 4 years, It has come out of an intense period of personal crisis following a diagnosis of Parkinson's disease that I received in October 2020. Over the next hour, I will be playing some of the songs from the album, and I will also tell you a bit about my experiences as I've tried to live well with the condition and even perhaps overcome it. This album launch is the first time I have talked publicly about this, so it feels like a big step. My motivation to do this is to promote the album, but also to work towards a longer-term aim, which is to help others with the same diagnosis, if I can find a good way to do that. I should also say that I'm not a medical doctor, a neurologist, or a therapist. So everything I say about health and healing is my own personal view. And I'm also not making any claims about being healed or about healing others. The song you just heard is called Ravens. I actually wrote it for my wife, Charlotta, who has played a major role in guiding and supporting my journey since the diagnosis. In the song, the ravens I refer to are skau in Danish, which translates as sea raven or cormorant in English. When I started spending a lot of time by the sea in Denmark, I watched these birds standing elegantly on the rocks by the shore. They always seem to face towards the sun. And I use this in the song, but it turns out that the ravens are actually facing into the wind, not the sun. But I don't think it matters. In the world of the song, they're facing the sun. As well as being a straight-up love song for my wife, the song is also about acceptance and about fully embracing what is, as it is, without judgment or negative preconceptions. It's also about turning towards the source of light or inspiration, whatever that means for you, and about drawing meaning and inspiration from that, just as the sea ravens seem to do. The footage that accompanied the song is from one of the healing rituals that Charlotta and I performed together. In this case, I built a boat out of bits of wood and filled it with leaves, on which were written many of my own limiting and negative beliefs about myself. I launched the boat into the sea and watched it sink with the sun. This is an example of the kind of healing activities I've been engaged in. I'll say more about this in what follows. Next, I will play two songs back to back. The first is called Hole in My Hand, and it is about the shock of receiving the diagnosis and how that broke into the otherwise sorted view of myself, disrupting everything I thought I was. The second song is called Cotton Brow. It's an imaginary story about meeting a mysterious stranger on a street in Bristol who offers me an ultimatum. It's a kind of Matrix red pill, blue pill moment where your whole life hangs in the balance. As I play these two songs, I will show some of the paintings I've done since the diagnosis, and I'll say more about those after the songs have finished.
Took to the road in the summer and sat alone on a beach in the sun. I followed the path through the forest and sang a sacred song. Tried to look after the roses, and I tried to be more than a man. I went with you down to the garden and danced in the light of the moon. And when morning comes, I find there's a hole in my hand. And when evening comes, I find I no longer know who I am. I went with you down to the river, and I carved out your name in my arm. I covered the earth with your ashes as I whispered the sacred song. I sat under the tree of forgiveness, and I buried my heart in the ground. I shouted your name in the darkness as I danced to the sound of the drum. And when morning comes, I find there's a hole in my hand. And when evening comes, I find I no longer know who I am. For all of you out in the forest, may your heart and your courage be strong. May the king of the birds fly beside you as you sing the sacred song. And if morning comes and you find there's a hole in your hand, don't try to hide away, for the answer is there, right where you stand. Dark of eye and fair of face, the stranger walks down Cotton Brow. And in the early morning light, she gives to me a smile. Then as the birds begin to sing, she says the following: I'll give you strength, I'll give you power and precious stones burning bright. If you give to me your hand and dance with me tonight. Then a shadow crossed her face, and something else I can't erase. See the oldest growing tall in the car park by the school. Shadows drift down Cotton Brow, looking for the lights. We're all shadows on the hill, looking for the lights. A stranger walks down Cotton Brow. See her shadow, dark as night. If I give to her my hand, I'll no more see the light. If I give to her my hand and dance with her tonight.
Paintings you just saw have all been done in the last 4 years, alongside writing and recording this album. So the music and images belong together in a way. I abandoned music making in my early 20s, and one of the most important changes I've made since being diagnosed was to allow myself to take up music and art again. At some point in our work together, Charlotta and I came across the sentence, "Unused creativity is not benign." You could understand this as the claim that if you don't give expression to your own inherent creativity, then it might become destructive. Or put differently, that having a creative outlet of some kind is not just a nice recreational option, it's a vital part of living a healthy life. I don't think this means that you should take up art, or that everyone should take up art in the formal sense. It's about regularly engaging in some kind of regenerative, absorbing activity, maybe like play is for children. Painting and music making have played that role for me, but I think it could be almost anything. The important thing is that it is something you do for the love and joy of doing it, something that is close to your heart. Some of the paintings you just saw are of a character I have called the Starman. This is a kind of ideal or future version of myself that embodies all the strength and wisdom I could hope for. He or she, sometimes it's unclear which, has been through great hardships, but has somehow come out the other side, wiser and more generous, instead of weakened or embittered. By painting and writing songs about this figure, I'm inviting him or her into my life to stand beside me as a source of love, strength, and protection. The next 2 songs will also be played without a break. The first is called Some Other Time. It is about the realization that long-held ideals and beliefs have to be let go of if further growth and development is to be possible. The second song is called Searching for Gold, and it's about my mother, who died about 17 years ago. Today is my mother's birthday, and it's also my wedding anniversary. So those were the two reasons for choosing this date.
Rest your heart, rest your mind. Maybe the light will grow inside some other time. Sleep, drink the wine. We'll cast off the chains that bind. Some other time. And when the lights go up and everyone can see, we'll ride the fiery demon. That's you and me. Rest your head close to mine. We'll dive in the molten sea. Some other time. There are many more just like us who dance towards the sun. We don't know when it started or when the journey's done. Rest your heart, rest your mind. Maybe the light will grow inside some other time. Some other time. Some other time. I can see the old oak tree standing by the door. The fertile fields, the summer sun, the blossoms on the wall. I know you were searching for gold, with your head in the sky and your hands in the soil. You were weak and you were strong, your eyes were made of sea. The path you followed took you down, always running from your grief. I know you were searching for gold, with the rain coming down, planting seeds in the ground. I can see you when I smile, I can hear you when I laugh. You cried when you saw her go, and when you lost the earth. I know you were searching for gold when you left me behind at a turn in the road. I can see the old oak tree standing by the door. You're smiling in the summer sun, the blossoms on the wall. I know that you're finding your gold, with your head in the sky and your hands in the soil. With your head in the sky and your hands in the soil.
So, like I said, I believe I'm on a healing journey. But we all know that Parkinson's is seen as an incurable degenerative condition, right? So what am I talking about? My own personal belief is that the body is highly malleable and responsive to the mind and the emotions. Placebo, neuroplasticity, and epigenetics are all evidence of this. I think that many health conditions start as long-term emotional and behavioral habits that gradually become so ingrained that they affect the body. And very likely the root cause is some kind of emotional trauma in the past. I think Parkinson's is connected to this, at least in part. People with this diagnosis are often very focused and driven and capable people who are also emotionally distant. At some level, we have closed ourselves off from others and become inwardly isolated and self-sufficient. Of course, having these traits does not mean you get Parkinson's, and having Parkinson's does not mean that you have these traits. But as an overall tendency, I think there is some truth in it. One of the ways that I've tried to work with this is to study my own biography and understand the events and people who have in part formed me. The last song you heard, Searching for Gold, is about my mother. She was a wonderful and deeply idealistic person, but she also carried her own trauma, which desensitized her in a certain way. This led to some specific events in my own childhood that I think resulted in me becoming emotionally closed off and self-sufficient as an adult. I'm not saying that parental trauma caused my diagnosis, but I am suggesting that it gave a fertile ground for developing the condition, together with a genetic predisposition perhaps. The healing journey I have been on with art, music, and everything else is a way of engaging deeply with these fixed emotional patterns in order to fundamentally change them. The next song is called The Burning Chair, and it is inspired by a dream I had of walking through a street of a town at night and coming across a burning chair in the darkness. I think the song is a celebration of the life cycle of birth and death that is with us in every moment.
She rises on a summer's morn, so wise and fair, and like a child she sits upon the burning chair. And when the flames are gone, they bear her down and lay the ashes on the barren ground to bring life again, to bring life again. I'll sing my love unto the morn for all to hear. She rises on a winter's morn, so wild and free, and like a child she climbs into the burning tree. And when the flames are gone, they bear her down ashes on the barren ground to bring life again, to bring life again. I'll give a ring unto my love for all to see.
Since the diagnosis, I have worked in lots of ways with healing. As well as painting and music, I have performed rituals and created mantras. I have thrown rocks into the sea at night. I have launched leaf-filled boats into the ocean and done drama reenactments of key moments in childhood. All of this has been to send out the message to myself that change is afoot. Maybe it's like sending messages into a large forest. You can just open the window and shout, but the message won't travel far, and it won't be understood by the forest. But if you use the language of the forest and engage the forest itself to carry the message, then it might take some time, but it will penetrate, and much more deeply. The language of the forest, in this case, is image, mantra, poetry, harmony, melody, movement, emotion, feeling, and love. The forest is my neurological system and body, but also my subconscious and semi-conscious self. The next song is called Shepherds. It's about a group of shepherds who travel to the four corners of the earth in vans. They're searching for something, maybe for their own capacity to feel and to care. But they carry some trauma, and they seem to have lost their flock. I think it could be about the Parkinson's personality that I mentioned before, or maybe it's just about the human condition as such. The second song is called Still Water. I wrote it for my dad, who died with Parkinson's about 12 years ago. I'll say more about him after the songs have played.
Shepherds travel north in the springtime, sleeping in their vans when the sun goes down. And when they reach the border, the trees and rocks remember, the trees and rocks remember. We were sleeping in the burrow when the wall came down, digging through the rubble with our bare hands. When I tried to remember, the holes fill up with water, the holes fill up with water. Shepherds travel west with the rising sun, standing in a field with the nets worked down, and bits of coloured paper are floating in the water, floating in the water. Shepherds travel east in the wind and rain, driving through Death Valley in a motorcade, while resting at the diner, talking to the waiters about all the fallen soldiers, all the fallen soldiers. Shepherds travel south when they can't go on, wandering the hills in the burning sun. If you look into the shadows, you can see their eyes are shining, see their eyes are shining. My father was a joyful man, against all wrongs he took a stand. But as he grew older, he slipped into silence like a stretch of still water, like a stretch of still water. My father was a thoughtful man, he cared about this troubled land. But as he grew older, his eyes they glazed over like ice on bright water, like ice on bright water. My father, he had careful hands, marked from working on the land. But as he grew older, things slipped through his fingers like leaves in the autumn, like leaves in the autumn. My father's father saw it all when he served in the Great War. And then some years later, he broke out in blisters that covered his body, that covered his body. My father hid his feelings well, like an oyster hiding in its shell. But somewhere inside him, something was forming, like a star in the morning, like a star in the morning, like a star in the morning, something was forming.
The last song was about my father. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's when he was in his mid-70s. The song is inspired by watching him gradually succumb to the Parkinson's symptoms, together with dementia. He didn't complain or shake his fist at the sky. He just quietly and slowly disappeared. This was one of the hardest aspects of being diagnosed myself, having that image of my father still strongly in mind. I had to break free of that and also break free of the powerful narrative about Parkinson's, with all its depressing and degenerative undertones. The first thing I decided to do when I was diagnosed myself was to talk about being diagnosed with Parkinson's rather than having Parkinson's. I also gave the condition a new name, TDM, which stands for Tempus Donum Mundi, meaning temporary cosmic gift. This is a Google translation, to be honest, so I'm not sure how accurate it is, but I like the official and authoritative sound of the Latin, so TDM it is. The point is that when you are diagnosed with something like Parkinson's, part of the problem is all the fixed and negative mental images and beliefs that come with it. We know the power of placebo and nocebo, so part of the challenge is to counter these negative and disempowering images with something powerfully different. This is where creating a new narrative comes in, a narrative that is empowering and regenerative. It is not about escaping reality, it is about taking a creative role in shaping it, whatever life has brought you. Finally, I can honestly say that many of the symptoms I had 4 years ago have greatly reduced or completely reversed. I still have some symptoms, and the real test is to see how I am in 10 or 15 years' time. But I feel I'm slowly moving in the right direction, though without any fixed sense of the destination. I will finish with one last song. It's called The Starman. Earlier, I mentioned the Starman in relation to my paintings. The song is an attempt to capture something of this figure in the form of a song, just as the paintings try to do in the form of an image. I know I've said a lot about health and healing, but this is also an album launch. So if you like the songs you have heard, you can listen to the whole album of 11 songs on Bandcamp and buy it there too. Proceeds from the sale of the album go towards our ongoing research. And if you want to find out more about this or join our mailing list, you can do so at www.rockofdreams.com. There is also an EP-length version of the album on Spotify, which has 4 songs. After the final songs have played, there will be links on the final slide. Before I end, I'd like to give a big thank you to my amazing friends and family for being on this journey with me and supporting me so amazingly at every step. I'd like to say thank you to Emma, playing keyboards in The Invisible Friend, and to Mish and Flo for their support and for giving valuable feedback on this event. I'd also like to say thanks to Pete at Scale, who supported me in the production of the album. And a very special thanks to Charlotta who has been a fantastic support contributor at all levels. I'd also like to say thanks to the various people and online resources where I have drawn insight and inspiration regarding Parkinson's, including Janice Hadlock, Lillian Schaubert, Gary Sharp, and Laura Mishley. Finally, a big thank you to all of you for coming. I hope you have enjoyed it. Please share links to the album or to the website if you feel inspired to do so. Do email me if you have any comments, observations, or suggestions about any of what you have seen or heard. I really appreciate it. So goodbye for now.
Here in the heart of the world, I lay all my certainties down. Here where the light's breaking through, I follow the storm man. The light in the valley, the touch of your hand as you walk in the door. In every moment, I am becoming the star man. Here in the arms of the world, I lay all my certainties down. Here at the turning of time, I follow the star man. You were the wise one. You taught me to open the door to the sun. But you never told me the light would dissolve me and I would become the star man, the star man, the star man. Here in the eye of the world, I lay all my certainties down. Here where my footsteps fall through, I follow the star man. The grey of the morning, the arrow of geese turning slow to the north. I am dissolving. I am becoming the star man. The star man. The star